Welcome. Today we're going to go through a change of owner or new owner training video. So that will cover the first 2 hours of basic knowledge when it comes to Profit Track. Now, normally I wouldn't do a face cam video for one of our YouTube videos, but when it comes to training, I think one-on-one with your trainer is quite important for the session. So, a bit about myself. My name's Jared. I do all the YouTube videos and training for Independent Solutions. Been with the company for 9 years as of the time of this recording, most of which was spent with the support desk. Now I'm with the professional services team, and we generally focus on installations, training, and things like that as part of that team. Now, with all that being said, we'll get stuck into the video and the actual training. So let's get started.
So on the desktop, we have the Profit Track server and Profit Track client icons. So to open Profit Track, we start with a server, so double click on that. It'll load. Now nothing appears to have happened, but if you go into your miniature icons, you'll have green and blue arrows going up and down indicating the server is now open. So the server controls the communication to the Profit Track client and to the point of sales. So that's why that needs to be opened first. Next, we'll go into the Profit Track client itself. And this is the program that we use to make all of our changes to the products, deals, specials, and things like that. Now closing them down, opposite order, just hit the cross in the top right there. Go back to your little taskbar, right click on your arrows, shut down server. Yes, it'll go through and close any connections, and then close the server. Now once that's done, you're completely out of it. What I do want to mention though is after 30 days, it will ask you to check if there's any damage, so I'll just run this file here which I've manually created for the purpose of this. Done. Alright, so now if I go into the server, it'll ask me to check because it's been 381 days since the last check. So if I click check, it'll go through and it'll validate all the databases, and that's just to make sure that there's no damage. Damage does occur during improper shutdowns and things like that. So that'll go through, depending on the databases, depends on the amount of time this takes. My databases are fairly empty, so it's fairly quick. And again, just open Profit Track client, and that'll open the application. So we'll go through system statistics and the menu options. So this screen we're looking at right now with the outstanding tasks and file statistics is the system statistics. So this will open every time you open Profit Track. So in here, we've got the option to remove talkers tonight. So that is if there's talkers outstanding. We have 7 pending tickets. So if we click the report on that, it'll show us the tickets that are currently outstanding. So we've got like Alan Sherbury's, Xbox Live Gold, things like that. That's fine. Pending prices, we don't have any. So every time you do a price change, it'll go into that section there. Alternatively, it'll also go in here to be sent to the point of sales, but we'll cover that later. This is when the last backup occurred. So that was quite some time ago, being last year. So the way to manually do that would be File, Backup, On Demand Backup. Year end being overdue. So File, Period End, Year End, we'll do that. Currently we have no products with a negative GP. So that's always good, negative GP being the good percent of the sell price versus the cost. We have 16 zero cost products. So if we get a report on those, open that up. So we can see here the Straw Clouds 150, the Amazon Poser. I assume that's it's an ePay. Yep, so most ePay products will be zero, that's fine. Gift vouchers, yep, they'll have zero cost as well, that's expected. So there's a couple of products in here we could correct, but for the most part it's about what I would expect to see. 302 negative stock on hand, so this will come about when a product's being sold, even if it hasn't been getting counted on the stock. So if we report on that, there should be zero if we're doing stock control, because you cannot sell a product that does not physically exist. And yeah, all of these products do exist. 52 negative on that product there is a massive amount down, so we need to do a stock take, that's fine. We've got 475 warehouse deleted items, that is just information for you to know what's been deleted by the warehouse. We have 302 unknown supplier items, so that's an item, so you can create products that aren't linked to a supplier because you can link them at a later point in time. And that's totally fine to have, although if you do want to click the report, it will show you the products that have the unknown supplier anyway. So in this place, looks like a bunch of the Cadbury chocolates, amongst a bunch of other things. So that's definitely something we could go through and fix. We have 63 products with normal less than RRP. So that's your normal sell one price. So if we go into there, same thing, it'll show us. And in this screen, it will also show us, or rather, it'll give us the selection choice about how much of a variance we're willing to accept. It's always going to do the absolute bare minimum, which is a cent. So we'll bring that up. There we go. So we can see here the cost, $1.31 in this case for the CAD Shock Boost Nuts. Sell one for $1.99. And the RRP is $2.14, so it's under by 15 cents. Now, if I was to change that report to 20 cents and rerun it, you'll notice that that product is now gone. Now, obviously, some of these have a bigger variance. We got the $1.26, $1.13 there, $4 there. So we may want to look at some of these, but of course, if you're aware of what's in the shop file, it's just an indication to tell you, hey, you may want to look at these items. So that's this system statistics. Once you've gone through all this and you're happy with it, you can click close and you just have a clean screen. So we'll go through the actual taskbars now. So up the top, we got file, tickets, comms, inventory, reports, setup, and help. So under file, this is a quick access menu, so you can get to shop products, specials, rebates, catalog, so on, and then you've got your general controls. So backing up of ProfitTrack, logging out of the user if you're using multiple users in ProfitTrack, a chat option, and how to exit ProfitTrack itself, which is the same as right-clicking, or rather clicking in the top right here. Tickets is just to print your tickets and do your shelf locations. You can also click on this icon here. Comms is the comms between the back office and the point of sale or scale and things like that. So in here we could send selected PLUs or all PLUs to the point of sales. We could go into the keyboards. We can send sundry items. So that would be if we wanted to send all of the department changes to the point of sale or receipt information, we could go in here and do that. Collecting sales and account sales. So these are usually set up to automatically happen, but this is the area where you would go into if you want to manually collect them. So if for whatever reason ProfitTrack was closed throughout the night and it didn't automatically collect, you'd go in here manually, see what shifts are outstanding. So we have one here from my YouTube point of sale. Deselect the perform backup and click start, and it will go through and collect the sales. Again, that typically happens automatically, but my system is closed overnight, so it makes sense that that hasn't happened for me. In here, you've got End of Day Manager, so that is a daily breakdown of what's occurred. So in here, 26th of the 8th, I can't have any reports there. Let me go back a little bit further. There we go. So we've got reports, and that's all daily based. Further down, EJ Viewer. So EJ Viewer is transactional based, and we'll go into that really quickly. So this is to show you the receipts and the transactions that occur on the point of sale and a breakdown of how to find them, more or less. So immediately off in this screen, we've got sales details. We've got the dates, clerk, register, transaction number if we have it, and the sale totals. So the idea behind that, especially on the just straight away in the search, is so that we can break down and define exactly what we're looking for if we don't know the exact information. Alternatively, you could also look for PLUs if you've got the PLU number. You could look for tenders if you're looking for a specific thing in your tender information, such as FPOS, what was on hold, what was an account sale. You could look for end days, end shifts, so on, and it just breaks it down to a transactional basis. Last option there is send items to prepack scales and your PDE functions. So sending items to prepack scales, if they're integrated, will send out the items to the scales to print out the tickets so that you can use them that way. PDE functions, this is if you have a PDE, send shop products to the PDE, set the normal sell from the PDE, loading the software, and set stock location from PDE if you're running specific stock locations. Inventory is very basic. You've got all your management types, orders, goods received, stock takes, transfer management, and deletion management. So orders, self-explanatory for the most part. Put in your order, delivery comes a week later with your stock goods. Then you go into your goods received, receive your goods to update your stock levels, do your stock take management to keep track of your stock, transfer management to justify where stock's going. So that would be things like damaged stock. So someone's knocked something over, you need to get rid of it. You do a transfer management of damaged goods just to justify. You could also do that to transfer between stores if someone's low and you're helping out. Deletion management is to remove products or PLUs. So in there, and we'll do a quick demonstration, we can go in, go products without sales, generate, and not sold since, and it'll go, okay, all the items that haven't been sold since that date, here they are in a nice convenient list, and you can do a mass delete to keep your product file clean. Reports, so this is a very vast topic, so we'll cover it very quickly. Each of these is based off a period. So if we go into sales reports, product sales, just for example, you can choose your start date and end date, and in there you can choose your dates. And that's the same for most of these reports. These reports aren't daily based, though most of them will go back by 18 months by standard. So please keep that in mind when using it. But this will break down sales versus management versus stock versus product reports, depending on what you're trying to do. Setup. So this is for most of the system settings and options inside Profit Track. We won't go too far into this, but more or less, this is where you would create your clerks, your groups, departments, sections, and stuff like that. The last one is help. So Profit Track help opens up a file, also known as the F1 user help contents. I'll explain that in a second as well. And there you can just search. So if you're looking at shop, for example, it will give you all the different things that shop is attached to. So how to shop search, for example, mile 1 options, things like that. Then you've got your release notes, so that's depending on your version. So we're on 3.11.5.3 at the moment, which you can see in the bottom left of Profit Track. So it's going to show us what was featured in each version. So featured in 3.11.5 was the IBA Marketplace integration. In 3.11.3 was when we introduced Dexter integration, so on, as you go through all the releases. You can also manually open system statistics there if you've closed it, like I have here. And the last one is about Profit Track, which just gives you your information about what version you're on and which database you're connected to. Now that's all those buttons. Now the quick access buttons, search, send, tickets, end-of-day management, is just search is used in most screens. We'll cover that in shop, but you've seen me use that once or twice already, where I need to bring up certain search requirements. Send is to send everything outstanding to the point of sale. Currently we don't have anything outstanding. Tickets is just the same way of doing it as through file and through tickets, but it's a quick access menu. And there you can view your pending 7. It'll load the report. That's what's outstanding. That will automatically generate whenever a product changes sell price. We'll cover that in the shop. End-of-day management is the daily breakdown of reports. We were in this screen just before, but we'll reopen it. So in here, we can see the 19th of the 10th and all the reports for that day. So we can get a cash flow by clerk or by shift or by register to help us break down how we were selling, which registers are moving the best, which clerks may be the quickest, things like that. The last area we want to talk about is this toolbar. So by standard, you'll only have tools and standard accounts and controller add-ons that I use. So standard, you have shop, specials, catalog, fast prices, deals, and host. So shop, this is where all of your products are done. So creating them, changing the sell price, adding specials, things like that. We'll go through that in just a second. Specials is your markdown pricing. That's if you want to do it en masse. If you want to do it per product, you'd still just do that in shop. But that is, we want to try and move this item really quickly. Let's mark down the sell price. That's how you would do it. Catalog, so catalog and host go hand in hand. If you get a host from a warehouse, so in the example of this database, I believe it's Foodworks, you would get one from Metcash, or from the naming would be Foodworks. That goes into the system, but it goes into the catalog. Then you can go into the catalog and extract the products to your shop file so you don't have to manually create them. Fast prices is to change multitudes of prices in a very fast fashion rather than doing them one by one. Deals are your multi-buys, so your 2 for X or buy this many of this for X sell price, stuff like that. Under tools, we have sales, rebates, and point of sale. So sales is the same as comms collect sales. It will show us anything that's outstanding. We've already collected it, so there's nothing here at the moment. These are all active. Rebates, this is the rebate section to create rebates. POS lanes, this just shows you if the point of sales are connected or not. So that's all of the menu options. Now that we've covered that, we'll actually move into shop and start going through how to create products, change sell prices, and stuff like that. So in shop, the first thing I'm going to point out is the F1 menu. At any screen you're in, if you press F1 on your keyboard, it will open you up to the section you're in. So right now we're in the shop, so it's open section 2, catalog and shop, and that way you can go through and recap anything that either I haven't covered or I have covered but it's been a while and you missed it. That's fine. So this will cover pretty much everything in this screen. With that being said, we'll go through and do it manually. So in here, we're going to create a new product. The new product button is down the bottom, and most of the system will use hotkeys. So I could also press F7 and it'll bring up this screen here. So this is to create the new barcode or PLU, at which point you would either type it in or scan it in. So if I just create one randomly at 123, that's fine. We give the product a description, so we'll go Ribena, sure. We need to tell it whether it has GST or not, so either including or excluding. We'll always go including here. We'll have to give it a group, so I don't know what the system has, maybe drinks, yep, that'll do. So drinks, refrigeration, juices, milk, cool, and that'll automatically put it in the department, cold drinks. So depending on how your system's set up, you can have different groups and departments, but it always goes from section down. So you'll have a section such as shop, then a department like cold drinks, and then in that cold drinks department you'll have a group. In this case that's drinks, refrigerated, juices and milk. So with that being said, moving on. The supplier information here, currently it's unknown. I don't actually know the supplier for Ribena off the top of my head, but let's just go Tip Top Bakeries. I know that's incredibly wrong, but that's fine. We've chosen our supplier. We have 1 unit per carton, so I assumed we would usually get more than that, but we would change that there. Our recommended retail price, if we have one, Ribena sells usually at about $4 for the bottle, so we'll just say $2. Now, in here, the costs, including GST and excluding GST, whenever you update one, it'll update the whole lot. So if I change the carton normal to 5, go back, you'll see that the unit is 5 because it's 1 unit per carton. If I change that, it'll change all the rest of the information respectively. And it will also show me excluding GST. Alright. Now you can also put a cost lock in here so that hosts won't update it. Now I'm not worried about that because I'm not pulling in hosts all the time. I've already clicked OK, so I'll just cancel in this case because nothing's changed. It will open up the PLU, which is just double clicking on this line here. This is where you change your sell price and your second sell. So second sell being if you have a different sell price on a product, usually seen in warm and cold drinks. So you've got Coke on the shelf and you've got Coke in the fridge. The Coke in the fridge is $3.50, the one on the shelf is $2. That's the purpose behind that. So I'll change it to $3.50 because our RRP is $2, so we'll have a positive GP there. Our cost was $5. My bad. Let me change that again. Alright, so our cost was $5. Our sell is $5.50. We have a positive GP of 9.1%, which is not quite as much as we'd like, but that's still a positive GP, so it won't show up in that report on system statistics. In the top right here, you can see ticket pending, ticket disabled, sensitive item, and age restricted item. So ticket pending means that if I save this product right now, I will have a ticket that goes outstanding up here. Ticket disabled means no matter what I change on this product, that will never have a ticket outstanding. Age restricted means that when you sell this on the point of sale, it'll come up asking for ID. So that is tobacco, cigarettes, and if you're selling knives and stuff like that, anything depending on your state where you need identification to sell the item. Once you're happy with that, click on save, and the product is now ready to send to the point of sale with that 1 outstanding, and we have that 1 ticket as well. So if I go into the ticket screen, view the pending, there's our Ribena. Alright, so we'll close back out of here. We'll go through a bit more in this screen. So the PLU audit won't have a whole lot because we just created this product, but this tab here will show you every change on the product since its creation. So every time the PLU price changes, for example, and specifically the PLU, I might have to add here, it is the PLU audit, not the product audit. It will also show you when it was deleted, undeleted, and things like that. Sales, this breaks it down to day, week, month, and year. So this will go back quite a few years. I think it's 10 by default. Purchases, this is when it's gone through order management up in here. And it will also show you if it's on order but hasn't been delivered yet. Specials, so this is, as I was saying before, if we want to mark it down to a special sell price just to move the stock. This is actually fairly straightforward. What we can do is just click sell only. It'll put it in for the day. We can change the end date. So we'll go to the 28th. Change the sell price. We'll say $4.50, which means yes, we will be selling underneath the RRP, but that's fine. And save. And what you can see here, so our GP is still 9.1% on the normal sell, but it's negative 11.1% because of the special sell, and you can see that in this area here as well. So our normal sell is $5.50, GP of 9.1. Currently though, because of the special, it's $4.50 and negative 11.1. If I change that cost down to $3.50, in either case, massive positive GP, as we'd expect to see. So that's how to create a special for an individual product, and you can just right click and go new install with cost if you need to, and of course if you want to delete it, you've got the option to delete it as well. Done. Stock. So this is about information for stock for the product more than it is about ordering it. So in here we do have our order settings. So minimum order of units is 1, order by shelf capacity, which we're not ticking. Force reorder at units, so this is if you're using automatic ordering, and that would be every time this unit gets ordered, you force reorder at X amount of units. Shelf capacity, if you've set up shelf capacity, so for example, this one can only hold 15 units on the shelf, that's where I would input that. I can also tell it to never automatically order, but I'm not set up to automatically order, so that's not a problem for me. In here we've got the is non-stock item, so if you're not keeping track of the stock, tick that. Available on internet websites, so in this version and later versions there's actually another tick box here for another specific internet website. Don't need to tick them if you're not using them. I do have another YouTube video in the top right that covers how to tick that and why to tick that and what website it works with. Use average cost for profitability. That is if you get multiple orders of the product and they have different costs between the orders, it will average them. Allow sales start time is the sales start and end time for the product. By default, that's just midnight to midnight. And this will show you your stock movements. So month to date, which is currently, is what your opening was at the start of the month, how much you've received, how much you've transferred, any adjustments minus your sales equals the closing, and same for each month. Comments on the product are for yourself and for any other managers in the store. So you could go never reorder. Now that will only appear in here, but that means that if someone's going along and doing something in the product and they click on that, they can see your note so that they know what to do. Positioning, so we haven't set up any shelf areas yet, but this would be where you would say this is positioned at aisle 3 and aisle 10, which I know doesn't make sense in a typical store, but for the point of example, that's why. Tickets. In here you can add ticket types. So at the moment I'm using 33 up FoodWorks. I could also use a 1 up FoodWorks. So that means every time I change this product, I'll get 2 tickets outstanding instead of just the 1. Deals. This will show me any deals that I'm currently outstanding on the product. So we can see here I have an IGA Rewards acquisition campaign on this product. And that means that if I'm going through and troubleshooting why a deal's not working, I can see if the deal's on the product and see if it's clashing with any other deals that are currently in the system. And the last one, cool, or country of origin labeling, is to mark out your ticket for if it's needing country of origin labeling and how much percentage of Australia is in there. So if we go with cool image, we can say it is 80% Australian, and you'll see it's already filling the graph there, and that's the point of that. And that is typically used on your meat items if you have one. So not too applicable for Ribena, but worth mentioning. Let me disable that. Yep. Excellent. So that is more or less the shop screen. So we'll send that down. Yes, we want to include PLEs with pending tickets. And now our product exists on the point of sale. So that is this part of the screen. What I do want to show is how to search. So if we press F3 or search in the top left, it'll bring up the search menu. And the first thing I want to point out is the ... versus space difference. So if I go Coca space cola, we will get 79 results. If I go Coca ... cola, I get 21. And people always wonder why the difference in numbers there. Now, it's quite simple. Dot dot means or. Dot dot means and the space means or. So Coca and Cola, it needs both things there to show up in the search. If I don't do that, it needs Coca or Cola. So we got Best Buy Cola here, when all we wanted was specifically Coca-Cola. And that's the difference between the two. Now, if we go in here, here's a pre-existing product. We can see here we've got some supplier information, it's in a group, GST, sell price, everything we would expect to see. Now what we can do is click on copy, and you can see here it's copying the product, and we go okay. Here's the new product, it's copied everything about it. We just name it maybe vanilla. There we go. And save. We have a new product, Coca-Cola Vanilla 1.25 liters. We can right click here and add new PLU. Put in a new PLU. Put in our new cell. $3.50. Save. And we've got a new product. So if you have enough products in a range, so that would be, in the example here, Coca-Cola Vanilla, standard, raspberry, so on at the 1.25, you can just copy and create new products just to speed it up a little bit. Now in this PLU as well, we'll cover some more information. So you saw me create at $3.50, and we've got the positive GP there. And now the lock flag. So in here we can lock the cell price. So we can stop the host updating cell 1, we can stop GRP updates, we can lock a specific GP, so on. And that's just to stop it from changing without us manually changing it. Of course, if you do just want it to change, you just leave it as not locked. Under the POS tab, we can start changing the product. So we've got normal preset price, which is just you scan the barcode, it is that price at $3.50. Weighed item will require it to be on the scales, but that's fine. Open price means that if you scan this product, it will come up asking you for its price every single time. So you would typically want that as a miscellaneous key more than you would want it as a product. But that way you could have miscellaneous deli for meat, and then you could just type in the price that's on the physical barcode of the product. That way you don't have to have it set up for multiple different ways. Open price negative, same as what we just said for the open price, but it's a negative, typically used for vouchers. Open weighed, so it's a weighed item, but it's an open variant. So we weigh it at 3 kilos, and it will go, okay, how much per kilo do you want this to be for? And allow price override, allows price override. So we'll leave that a normal preset because that's what it is for the product. Now in here we can see it's allowing discounts, that's fine. We can mark it as an XPOS item, doesn't really matter for us at the moment because we don't have it. Prompt for quantity means that when you scan it, it'll come up asking you how many. So that would be if it's usually an item that sells multiple in one go. And then we've got a whole bunch of card information in here. It's only really relevant if you have those things such as kitchen printers, metlers, scales, those are, and so on. So we won't touch on those at the moment. If you need to, it's in F1 help. Moving along, pre-pack. So in here we can mark scale locations, labels, put in our label formats if we have our scales. We can also put in our tear, our label descriptions, if it's pre-pack weight or an open price, same sort of thing as the POS but for pre-pack information. So I will get rid of this because it's not a pre-packed item on Coke. Ingredients. So in here, that's where I don't buy this, I buy the ingredients. So this would be if it was a burger. We could have a cheeseburger. You could say, I don't actually buy the cheeseburger, I only buy the ingredients. So meat, patty, cheese, so on. But if you do buy it and you don't buy the ingredients, you could do it that way. And then you would need to set up your ingredients. I don't think I have them here. No, I don't. That's fine. But you would go in here, bring up your product or your ingredients and add them in. Positions. So this is where we don't have them. Don't have them at the moment. But if we had the shelf location set up, that's where we were saying before with the right bin. I think I said was aisle 3 and 10. You could say, okay, this one's at X aisle and X aisle, and start doing stock counts based off that. ePay being the last one just marks it if it is an ePay item. ePay is for touch cards, so not relevant against Coca-Cola, but that's what it's there for. Alright, so now that we've covered that, we're going to cover how to change the sell prices en masse, because there's two ways of doing it, and we'll go through those now. So, in File, Fast Prices, you've got Key Prices for select products and Mass Sell Updates. So the first one, it's going to ask us for a list. So let's go tobacco and cigarettes. Okay. Now this is going to take a second, but it's going to load up every product that's in that department, and then it will just be in a nice convenient output for us to change pricing. Here we go. So we can see here that's the carton, and we can just go, okay, $40, enter. It will ask us to change the family. We can either say yes or no, which I've just said yes to, so you can see all of these have just changed. Rinse and repeat for all of them, so I could go, okay, $44 because it's increased. Same thing, yes, put it on all of them. 44, 44, 44. So that'll go through and help you change them en masse. Now, if this is too much information on the screen, these tick boxes below will remove it. So we've got, say, unit cost may not be relevant for what we're doing. Costs in general may not be. UPC, yeah, we'll leave that there because we want to know what the carton is versus the singles. Do we want to see Woolworths and Coles? Maybe not. So there we go. Really clean. This is just units per product, the RRP, the UPC, the sell, and the GP. Once you're happy with your sell price changes, click on Save. And you can see in the top left, we now have 9 outstanding changes for the point of sale. So we'll click that, go OK, and yes. And that will send everything to the point of sale. So the other method, also in File, Fast Prices, Mass Sell Updates, when we go in here, so this doesn't do it by selection, this does it by RRP versus sell. So when you get a host through, it'll update the RRP of the products, and let's say you have, well, we know we have a bunch from system statistics, but we have 100 products that don't match the RRP. If I want to increase all my sell prices to match the RRP, I would just tick include increases. If I want to decrease my sell prices, I would click that as well. In this case, just for demonstration, I'll do both. We'll click evaluation on everything. This will take a second to load up because I've selected the whole shop file, and in my case, that's about 10,000 products. There we go. So in here you can see we've got old sell $2, new sell $1.83, because that's the RRP. So we've gone down, and it will show you, and just put that nice little arrow, whether you've gone up in sell price or down in sell price, and the reason. So the host is the typical one, so we'll go through and process that. And again, 122 updates. Nope, we don't want to cancel. And we'll finish up. That's alright, while we wait. Send through, yes. Excellent, done. That's everything down through to the point of sale. So that is shop products and how to quickly change the sell prices. The other one I'll touch on really quickly is the deletion, which we talked about before, but I'll do it more in depth this time. Deletion management, generate. Now, if you just want to see everything that hasn't been sold, you just choose tomorrow. So in this case, the 27th. But let's go back. Yeah, 3-4 months. Anything that comes up in this list hasn't been sold in quite some time. Now, this is a test system, so I imagine this is going to be pretty much my entire shop file. Wouldn't be the case in a live environment. Yeah, that's pretty much my entire shop file. So that'll bring up all the products. It does take some time, especially when you hit as many products as I have. There we go. Alright, so in here it'll show us the last sold date, so we can see which ones have never been sold. And if we reorganize that, we can see which ones were sold most recently. So yeah, this system being a demo, I'm not surprised to see some of that. That's fine. So simply put, all you have to do is press spacebar on the products you want to delete. And I'm just using the arrow key to go down. So let's say we don't need a whole bunch of these. There we go. And then we can click delete. Okay, so it's trying to warn us because some of these items do have stock on hand. You can see that on this product here, which is part of the solvent white long. I assume that's toilet paper. So it's got 29 units there, 6 units there, 2 units there. So it's going you have stock on hand and you have products that have active quantity on order, are you sure? So tick that and click yes, and it'll delete. Done. Now you may notice in the top left here with that little icon we used to center the point of sale, we've now got 22 in brackets, and that's what happens whenever something's deleted. So I'm not going to send that through this time because I'm actually going to break down what that means a bit more in a second. But what I will do is also change the sell price of this just to 34 cents. Excellent. All right, so we'll touch on what that means in a minute once we go through a bit more of this. So we'll move on from the shop and move to the catalog. So we'll see if I've got a catalog in here. So a ... search will bring up everything that's currently in the file. So this may take a minute. All right, so now that's here. So you can see here we've got a couple of items with this little blue circle and S next to them, which means it's already been extracted. That's already in our shop file. So the ones here that aren't, we can extract manually. But if we want to clean this up so that we're not dealing with the ones we've already extracted, we can search non-extracted items and try that again. All right, so now we've got all of these items here. So we've got two options. We can either go through and spacebar select them like we did in deletions management and then click extract, or double clicking on an item will extract, that'll extract the ones that I just ticked. Hang on. Now if we were to do that the other way, we double click on one dispenser cereal, for whatever reason that is. Excellent. So this gives us a more comprehensive look at the product. So we can see here the product code, description, commodity, supplier, standard cost, unit cost, total cost, things like that. That's all come from the warehouse. So in this case, it'll come from Metcash. So those are costs, cost specials, sell specials, deals, so on, so on, so on. If we're happy with that, we can click extract and it'll extract the product, same as what it did in the search screen before, but this way it does it by singular product, which yes, would be slower, but it also gives you more information on the product before you extract. Extraction complete. Excellent. So now that that's done, I'll close that. So that's more or less the catalog. So we talked about the catalog, we talked about the host, but we didn't actually mention what the host is. So the host is a file that comes from your provider, in this case Metcash, usually on a weekly basis. Can come a little bit more than that, especially when the CPI increases around. You'll get a normal host and you'll get the CPI host. Sometimes you'll also get offers hosts if you're set up for that. And that all puts information into the catalog to be extracted. Hi all, it's me. I'm in post-edit at the moment. So we're going to redo the hosting part of this now that I've got a file to actually show. So if we go into standard host, so you would usually go collect weekly grocery host and start to collect it. I'm going to import my file manually though. So mine is just on the desktop. Import. So that'll go through an import. That'll take a minute. It does take a minute to collect it as well. Awesome. Alright, so there's nothing in this one and that's alright. To break it down, you would click on each one and it would come up with deletions, changes, new products, so on, so on. It would also show you the increases and decreases in your cells and any deals that came down. Now once you're happy, if you go to close out, it'll ask you to update your increases and decreases, so you would go yes, and it updates the price. So that's where we were saying before in the shop screen, if you want to lock the host from changing your sell price or your cost price, you just need to change the lock flag under the supplier or under the PLU, and then what we just did then won't have any impact on that product. So on that note, if you do need to change things en masse, what you can also do in the shop screen is just go, let's say we don't want them to update our Coca-Colas. All right, we've got 22, tick all, set selected. And in here you've got the cost lock flag, so you'd say stop host updating, and you've got the PLU lock flag to also stop host updating. And that's the difference just between updating the RRP and the cell 1 from the host. Alright, I'll get back to the original recording. Cheers! We'll move on to the next one, which is ordering. So if I cancel here, inventory, order management, there we go. I've already created one here. I'll delete that. So we click on new, we've got 4 options here: PDE order, manual order, automatic, and external. So for the most part, we'll skip the external and automatic ordering. They're not very standard. It's a bit of a different module. PDE ordering is if you've scanned it through your PDE and just want to import it through that. Depending on the PDE, depends on how that'll work. There's a link in the top right to the Dexter video I did that covers it with the Dexter's device, but we'll do it with the manual order for now. So in here, we can choose the supplier. So warehouse hosted is going to have a bunch of entries. So we'll choose use limited. I don't know if I have any products in there. We'll find out in a second. Next, so the description, it's going to give you the day and the name of the supplier, followed by the word order. It'll tell you your due delivery date, which is a week from the time that you've created the order. When you're happy, click on create. All right, now in here, if we go F3 search and change it to ... search, it's only going to show us the products that have that supplier. So if I did a ... search like that in shop instead of in the ordering section, I would have gotten all my products, which is around 10,500. But in here, because it's only going by the supplier we selected for the order, I'm only getting 6. So same thing as all the other screens. If I go through and spacebar these and click OK, there'll be input. So we can see in here, it gives us a bit of general information. So an average per weekly sale. So we sell a bunch of the Monday to Fridays and Sunday and Saturday. So we should probably order a lot of those. Now we can also see the UPC is 1 unit per carton. That's fine. So we'll want to put in a bunch of units or cartons. It's all the same in here because the UPC is 1. If that UPC was 12, you could go, okay, I only want 10 cartons as opposed to 120 units, whichever. Once you're happy with it, we'll go through and just change this to a 1. Click close once you're happy and finalize. So that's finalizing the order. This will bring up your report. So in here, the supplier order gives you your company information. For me, that's YT Studios. When it was printed, the description, which is what we had before. It'll give us our logo. So like I said, this is a FoodWorks system, so we've got the FoodWorks logo there. It will give us the order to and deliver to information, and of course, the product information that we put in the order as well. So that is orders. We'll talk about users and point of sale next. So users are for both the back office and the point of sale. So you saw me do this before under File, Logout. I'm currently signed in as PT user. If I go into Setup, Edit Lookup, Tables, Register Clerks, or if you have it in your system, Server Management, Edit Users, both go to the same place. You'll see all of the users in the system. So Clerk 10, 11, blah, 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 blah. All of that is for the point of sale. So in this brief description here, all these tabs, it tells you more or less what it's for. So we can see the name, Clerk 10. We can see the password, 4321, which group it's in, administrators, which means they have full access to everything in the back office. If it's ticked for POS, it can be used on the point of sale. If it's not, it can only be used in the back office. Now, the reason why you'd have one for the back office is if you have an inventory user, someone that specifically comes in to do stock counts and ordering. They wouldn't need access to a point of sale in that job role. They don't need anything on the POS. Now, with the POS being ticked, you got a security level. So that is a function on a button. So if you don't want your staff being able to do price overrides, for example, without managers, supervisors logging in, you go, okay, I want the price change button, markdown button, to have a security level of 9, the highest. But that means that if Clerk 10 goes to press that button, it's going to come up asking for a password. And if they put in theirs, it won't let them use it. You would need a higher access, so in this case, for example, back office invoicing, to come along, press in the password, and then it would allow the button to be used. Now the register name, which should usually match the name, Clerk 10 in this case, is what appears in the bottom of the point of sale and on the receipts when one prints out. So we see a lot of people, and it's fine to do, where you'll have their full name on the left-hand side and their nickname on the register. So I don't really have one myself, but that would just be like a shorthand version of the name, nickname, so on, so on. So in here, we can see my clerk here. I've named myself Jared. My password's my birthday. And what we'll do, so this is all the information here, and there's a Dexter user external sales type. So POS. Forecourt username and password is only valid if you're a fuel site. Security level 9, I gave myself the highest. and which store I work at. In this case, I've just got Foodworks, so that makes sense. Now, if in here I go C, right? So my name is Jared there, but my register name is Jared C. I click OK, send that to the POS. Cool. And then I open the POS, which is guardian.exe. You won't have that on the back office typically, but it will be on the point of sale, though most point of sales will have that load up automatically when they turn on. So it'll load. Excellent, here we go. So you can see on the register, my name is Jared C, not Jared. And that's the purpose behind that. All right, so we're currently locked here, and that's fine. That means I've been away from the point of sale for long enough that it's either locked itself or I've told it to lock manually. So to sign in, we just need to put in the password. So for me, that's 1996, and we're in. So this is the new keyboard for our point of sales. May not look quite like this, may look like the older type. If you do want to get one of the newer looking ones like this, please call us on 1-800-020-946. But we'll go through some of the functions. So that was how to log into the point of sale. Now to perform a sale, you would usually scan your items, so we'll say Coca-Cola and Pepsi. You'd go through to your subtotal menu, and then you've got two options. You can either type out the total, so 66.58, so you could type out, if they gave you say a $50 and $20 note, 70, and then go cash, and that's tendered it at $70. Or if we use the same products in the subtotal screen, the two note buttons here will do the same thing. Now using those same products again, you've also got the option to do FPOS, cash out, charging to an account if they're an account customer, and check. Now if I do put in $50, you'll notice in the top right the subtotal has updated to $16.58 remaining. When I've done that, it's told me the change was $3.40. Now that cleared very, very quickly due to my settings. It will usually stay on screen longer than that. So that's how to perform a basic sale and how to tender. So we'll talk about some of the functions. So in here, this is the function menu here. Depending on your keyboard, that may be located somewhere else, but it will always be called function menu. You've got the options in here to do floats, safe drops, no sales, price changes, things like that. So we'll start with some of the things on this screen so that you can see what I'm doing. So in the top here, we've got special functions. This is shift, second price, quantity, price change, void, return, and receipt off. So what do these mean? Shift is if you have variations of the same product or something along those lines. So for example, we're selling coffees, just lattes, for example. You have 3 different sizes of latte. So we press the key and it's just going to bring up the first one. But you can set it through shifts to bring up 12 different types. So that the way that would work is you would have one button which is linked to shift 1, and that is a normal size latte or a small latte. The next one would be to shift 2, which is latte medium. 3 would be large, 4 would be extra large, so on, and that would be how that works with shift. Second price, as we said before, is if you're trying to do a warm drink or something to that effect. So you would click the second price button, which you can see here, click, then scan your product, and if the product has a second price, it will bring it up. Quantity, so you want to do that before you scan the product, in this case. I also don't have a quantity button here, but you go 8 quantity, and it would highlight in there with the quantity number, 8, scan the product and it'll bring it up 8 times. Price change, so when you click the price change button on the point of sale, permanent price change, that will light up, you scan the product, and then it will ask you for the new sell price. So that is one of the things that we said about keyboard security management. You would want that button to be a fairly high security and need a manager's clearance to be able to use. The next 3 is void, return, and receipt off. So I'll actually demonstrate these. So you have a couple of options when it comes to a sale. If we go back home and go Coca-Cola and Pepsi, right, back into here, we've got error correct or cancel error correct, and then we've got void and return. So cancel is just to completely write off the sale. Error correct is to remove the last item, in this case the Pepsi. So let's remove that. If we put that back on, that's fine. Void is to remove a specific a specific item from the sale earlier on. So error correct does the last item, in this case Pepsi Max Cube, but if you didn't want the Coca-Cola, you could click on your void and then scan the Coca-Cola and it will remove that. Now returns cannot be used in the same transaction as a sale, because if you're returning something, that is completely different to buying. It's a completely different function. So if you're doing a return, you need to completely cancel or tender the sale, then click return, and you'll see it light up there, and then Coca-Cola, and this is the price, and it's just the current price, so you'd go enter, you go to the sale total. Alright, so we're going, okay, we're taking the product back, and we're going to give you your $41.53 back. Now, when it comes to that, we showed you tendering with the dollar notes and with the cash. But because you're giving back and it's already at $41.53, you want to go 0 cash, and that returns the $41.53. If you put in $41.53 there and then cash, you're returning $82 or $83 once you include the cents. So you want to make sure it's 0 and then tender the cash. Or FPOS if you're returning by FPOS. Receipt off, so if we go into the function, receipt on off there, most people would want to leave that on. So basically that means after every transaction right now, it's not going to print a receipt. Although if I turn it back on, or by default when it is on, it will print a receipt on every single action. So like that, that is how the functions work between no sales, error correct, return, markdown, receipt on off, price change. So we're moving on to lock and ending the shift. So on this keyboard, we've got the lock button up here. On most of the older ones, it was in the top left with a keypad lock sort of thing. You click that, and it takes you to this screen, which is the screen you saw when we logged in. So you can see here, big red writing, locked, and that's for if you're walking away from the till. So as a cashier, if I'm the only one in the store, for example, I lock the till to make sure that no one tries to use it to try and open the drawer to get cash out while I'm not attending the point of sale. So once you're in this screen, you've got a couple of options. You can end shift, restart POS, and restart PC. So restarting the POS just does the software, so that's nice and quick, takes all of about 60 seconds. Restarting the PC, self-explanatory, restarts the entire computer. I won't demonstrate that here because it will end the recording, but it will restart the computer. End shift, being end shift, will end the shift. So if we put in 1996 and go yes, our shift is now ended. So now we've got other options. We can shut down the PC altogether because it is assuming we are done. We've also got end day and cash declare. So for fuel sites, end day is more important than for supermarkets. End day for service stations will tell you that it will go get your dips and meters figures if they're electronic. And you need to do that every day for your fuel data. Cash declare, useful by both. If we go into there, 1996, you'll see every shift that I've had against that user. So in my case, I've only got the one. That's it there. So we started the shift at 3:36 p.m. It ended at 4:59, which is correct. And we'd go declare. Now, if you have a bunch in here from really old dates, so these are from today, that's fine. But if you have them there from months ago, you would need to go through and declare them all at just $0 and just leave it at that. But because that's there, we'll declare. So in here, it's going, okay, how much cash, how much check, go through and put it in based off your count. So I'll say, we had $50. That's fine. Enter. Process. Drawers not balanced. Now, it's not going to show why. It's not going to show you how much was supposed to be in there. That's a setting. So at that point, we'll process anyway. Yep. So it now shows us what was expected. So it expected $158.25. I only told 50 cents. My draw's now short $157.75. I can fix that in the back office if I miscounted. That is a very drastic number there. I'm just doing that for the purpose of the video. But that is how you do your cash declare. Once you're happy with it, click exit. If you try and go back in for 1996, you'll notice that the shift is no longer there. It has been declared. So if we go back into the back office here, tools sales or comms collect sales does the same thing. You can see here that the shift is now waiting on both sides. Deselect perform backup and click start. The only reason I'm doing that is because the backup of my system would take anywhere up to 10 minutes and we don't want to do that for the video. If it's an automatic process and doing that for you, it happens at 3 AM. It's not an impact, but if you're doing it manually and just need to get it out of the way, deselect it. So that's now collected. If I now go in here to the 26th cash deck, you can see here, there's my shift, there's my declared at 50 cents, but I, the manager, have rechecked it and it was actually at $160. The drawer is now $1.75 up. My staff didn't count that correctly, but I've corrected that in the back office. So that's how the cash declare works there, all the way through to the back office. That is Profit Track at its basic. If you want any more information, or if you want to learn any of this more in depth, or about the other modules that exist inside Profit Track, please call us on 1-800-020-946 and we'll organise some bespoke training for you and for your staff. Otherwise, if you like the video, don't forget to like, subscribe. Thank you for watching.